Hey, seventh graders, welcome to chapter 2. This is the Constitution and Citizenship. We're going to start out with section 1. Today we're going to be talking about mostly the legislative branch and what they do, amendments, and you can see here all the different topics that we're going to be touching on. So let's get moving here. The first thing we'll talk about is the representative democracy, which means that we are a democracy that is our officials are elected by the people. A government led by officials who are chosen by the people. It's right there. And then there are three different parts of the federalism that we have, and that is the federal government, then there's shared powers between the federal and the state. And these are the roles that each of those play. So the delegated powers, which is way to the left, you can see that they have the power. This would be the president, and it's declaring war. Well, not just the president, but our federal power. So the declaring war, coining money, admitting new states into the union. And what it means to coin money is make money. So back during the Civil War, there wasn't one place where money was made. It was made by each bank, by each state. There were different amounts. There were different coins and dollars, and there were 50 cent bills, and then there were 20. There was all kind. It didn't make any sense. So they said the federal government, we're taking it over, and it's just going to be done by the federal government. And then let's look way over here to the reserved powers, and these are powers that are reserved just for the state. So the rules and laws in every state are not exactly the same. Driver's licenses are controlled by the state. So if you look at a driver's license from somebody in a different state, it's going to look different. Marriage laws are different. For instance, in Minnesota, it is legal for you to marry someone of your same gender. It may not be in another state. And you can see the other things that we have here as well. So there's state regulations, and then there are federal, and then there are some that are called concurrent powers that are shared between the two, and that's to do with taxes and courts and providing for the welfare of the people, essentially. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about the elastic laws. So if you think back 250 years ago, there are laws and there are situations in which our founding fathers never could have anticipated, like the invention of the car. The car didn't exist, and all the laws around that, the internet and all the laws and regulations around that, flights. So there's lots of things that have been created and invented since then that there's no way our founding fathers could have anticipated. So the elastic laws give them the ability to stretch and be able to create laws that are going to help us as a country. Then we've got the separation of power and the beginning of our three branches of government. No one branch of government is more powerful than the next. The other two are always more powerful than one by itself. So the legislative branch is made up of Congress, which Congress is our House of Representatives and Senators together. That is Congress, and that is our legislative branch. And to remember, what does the legislature do? The legislature starts with an L, and so does what they do. They make our laws. They start out as bills in the House of Representatives. They go to the Senate, and if it gets passed in both houses, it goes to the president. If the president signs it, it becomes a law. If it doesn't get signed by the president, he can, vocab term, veto that. Then it has to go back to the House of Representatives. If it passes there by 66%, it goes to the Senate. If it passes there by 66%, it can become a law, and the president has no power over changing that law. How to become a House of Representatives rep is explained here. So there are 435 members in the House of Representatives. Every state has a certain number of representatives, and it's all based on apportionment. How does that happen? Well, we take a census every 10 years. We're taking a census here, the 2020 census. Apportionment takes the total number of people in the country, and then based on the population of your state is how many representatives you have. In the state of Minnesota, we have 8. In California, they have 53. Now, every state has to have at least one representative and at least 2 senators. You can't ever completely lose them. But so states like North Dakota, South Dakota, they've had more representatives in the past, but because their population hasn't grown as fast as California, New York, and Texas, they have only one representative left. They still have 2 senators, however. All right, so how do I become a representative? Well, I have to be 25 years old. I have to have been a citizen of the United States for at least 7 years, and my term lasts 2 years as well. How many terms can I serve? It is unlimited. Sometimes you hear people talk about term limits. This is an example where people think, geez, that representative has had 20 terms. He's been in office for 40 years. That is ridiculous. Some people would agree with you. Other people would say, we voted for him. We like him. We don't want to change things. Let's keep it the way it is. So matter of opinion on that. So that's becoming a representative. How do you become a senator? You have to be at least 30 years old, been a citizen of the United States for at least 9 years, and your term is 6 years. Now, every election, you've got about a third of your senators that are up for re-election. And every election, so every 2 years, you've got all of your representatives are up for re-election. Well, how do you become a U.S. citizen? If you were born in the United States, you are a U.S. citizen. If you weren't born here, you have to take a test and pass the test. You have to live here for at least 5 years and be able to prove that you are economically independent, that you don't need somebody else to pay for you, that you can keep a job and get a job, keep a job, and sustain yourself financially. That's pretty, and then we also talk about the president, and if the president can't do his job or he is incapacitated, the next person in line would be the vice president, who at this time is Mike Pence, also a Republican. Donald Trump, Mike Pence, Republican. The person after that would be the Speaker of the House. Now, right now, the Democrats are in control of the House of Representatives, so that means that the Speaker of the House is a Democrat. Her name is Nancy Pelosi. And that means she would be the third in command if the president and vice president can't do it. If those 3 cannot do it, you would have the president pro tempore. This person is the head of the Senate, and it is a man by the name of Grassley, and he is a Republican. So that would be your number 4. And then after those 4 people, there are the president's cabinet members. So his cabinet, they all have, so you've got Secretary of Education, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of Agriculture. All of these people would be in line after these 4 to become the next president. And when the president gives his State of the Union address, one of these cabinet members is removed, so that if in a catastrophic event were to happen, like a fire or a bombing or something terrible, and killed everybody at the president's his State of the Union address, that you would still have somebody that would be in control of the United States and would become our next president. That is where we left off for today. We're going to pick up talking about the executive branch tomorrow, and I look forward to seeing you and talking with you then. Have a good day.